All right, I'm going to kind of walk through how to get through Raz Kids, how to set it up, how to assign um, students to your caseload, how to go through the whole setup process, and to assign them a book. So hopefully this kind of keeps a straight line, but sometimes I can go off the rails a little bit. So anyway, usually what I do is I just type in Raz Kids up here in the search bar, and it's going to bring you right here to raz-kids.com. Click on the first link that shows up, and that's usually the main link. And what if you want to do and keep this in your bookmarks bar right here, you can hit the star and that'll bookmark it. Just make sure that it says bookmarks bar right here and not somewhere else that you've set up. I've already got it, so I'm going to just hit remove so I don't get it again. Now, this is going to be the main screen. When you are logging in, the first thing you want to do is actually you want to go up to member login, and I am going to log in. And hopefully that will get us there. And yeah, there we go. So you can see that it's now logged me in as Miss Zander. And this is going to be kind of like your main screen. This is where you manage students. If you're looking for things and you want to save them for later, you can put them in this, what they call the filing cabinet. As we go down, sometimes you can see that they have featured content right here. You can go down, and so you can see down here, you can see overall a good overview of all of a caseload's students all at once. So taking a quick little look right here, I can see that there are 16 students in purple, and purple is that kindergarten level, which would be, AA, like a pre-primer to a C. And you can see that there are 3 students that are D through J. Looks like some of the students have actually started some skills. So you can see some of the quick response back. So you can see some of the top and bottom skills. You can see some of the overall activities that have been completed, how the average quiz scores. Usually when a student takes a quiz, it takes a few minutes for it to come back to be able to be seen on your end. So to add a student and to go to your caseload and things like that, first thing you want to do is go up here to where it says manage students. And easiest thing to do would be to go to roster. And so right here, you can actually see all of your students that you've put in. And you can see you can put a password for everybody, and I'll show you that in a second. And then you can actually set up groups as they go. So, a lot of times the easiest thing to do is if you want to add a student, you would come right over here and click on add student. And this is where you would say type the student name. So let's say we're going to do Johnny. Now, looking at some of your easy stuff, maybe you did the F and P on him, and maybe he came back at a P. So if you hit P for Faunus and Pinnell, it's going to convert it up here to this Raz rating A to Z score, and you can see that brought him to a T on reading A to Z. You can set a password for Johnny right here, and you can use a text password, or you can have them select buttons. I know that I was working with Ms. Zander the other day, and she was just having all of her kids type Zander as the password, so it makes it nice and easy. So now if I go back and I look at my classroom roster, I see Johnny right there. I see there's the password, and I also see right there that he has not been assigned to any group. So basically assigning them to a group is good if you want to keep the students, if you have your students organized by the classroom teacher, or if maybe you call it group 1 or group 2. So if I selected Johnny, I come up here to group, hit the little pencil icon, and I can add another one, and I can add this. I can call it maybe a test group. See that now Johnny is in the test group right there. Really easy. And don't worry, I'm going to go back and delete Johnny in a second. So now I've actually got my students right here. While I'm on this, this management screen, I can kind of see some of the reports like I was showing you a minute ago. I can see where everybody. Now, this is the student who I actually used to take her quiz yesterday. I can see different assignments that I've actually assigned already here. I can see the assessments, the level progress, but I can go back to, my classroom. I can see my class roster. Um, when you're having the students in person, and I'm sure we can figure out a way to do this, but right over here where you see student and parent documents, you have an option to kind of print out almost little baseball cards for the kids. So let me open this up for you. You can see. So here's all your students, and what you would do is obviously cut them out, knowing that the kids are going to go to, they're going to go to kidsA to Z.com. They're going to enter in their teacher username. They're going to enter in Xander, and they're going to see their assignments come up. And I'll demonstrate that in about 1 minute. So as you're doing that, obviously, if I go back here to Raz Plus, this is going to kind of bring us back to our main page here. And this is where I can actually scroll down and I can start seeing some of the resources that are, that are around. Now, a lot of times you'll see that they have some things that you can search down here at the bottom. You can see that they have some, what people are searching for. Obviously, Halloween coming up, so you can assign things for Halloween. If I just click on leveled books, it's always a pretty good place to start because then you can see on the left-hand side, you can actually sort out your books by Lexile level or by like whatever the reading A to Z level is. And I think that there was that student back there who we just assigned Johnny, who was a level T. So let me click on level T, and all of these books that come up are level T. Let's see, maybe I want to do, oh, you know what? Here's something about influenza. With obviously everything going on right now, probably a pretty good, book to take a look at. So when I click on the book, I get a little bit of a synopsis about it right here. This is going to show me where I can assign this and add this to my filing cabinet or assign it to different students. They have printable lessons that you can actually print out right here at the bottom. If you are looking to, introduce like a guided reading, connect to the prior knowledge, talk about the main ideas and the details, vocabulary. So it actually gives you a pretty good detailed lesson plan right there. If there's any worksheets, worksheets are going to be tough because you're going to be doing them. If you're doing them in person, that's great. If you're doing them online, that's going to be a little bit difficult for students to edit, but it'll give you a good idea of some of the activities that you can do with it. So you can see all the way down, and these are all these different activities that are just about this reading story, this influenza. It gives you some of these opportunities. You can cut them out. You can cut and paste these into some different Google activities, sort of some inquiry questions here. What do you think the world would be like if vaccines had never been invented? So you could have your students turn and talk, or talk about that after, and maybe use some information from the book that they just read. As you're going on, you can see here is where you would print like the old school copies of them, where you would, if you had the students in person and you were printing them off and, cutting them out and doing that funny staple thing in the middle. So that's where you would do. And right here on this projectable page, this is where you can kind of bring up the book on the whole, and then you can use some of these annotation tools over on the side to actually circle. What do you notice? Let's see. I notice that these words are highlighted right there in yellow. I can then erase them. I can favorite them. I can actually do some text boxes right there. So this is actually a good idea to kind of put this up on your screen while the students are reading it themselves. Let me go back here. And all right, you know what? I've really decided that I really kind of like this assignment right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click assign. Now I know that my new student, Johnny, is in the test group, so I can select test, and anybody who I label this test would show up. Or I can assign this to, just individual students themselves too. So I want to give them the option to listen, to read, and to take the quiz. Johnny is the only person that's going to get this, so you know what? I'm going to hit assign right now. I can see that if I go to my assignments page that just clicked up, I can actually see that that was the one that was just actually just assigned, as we just did. So if I come to now, I can see that this is kids A to Z right now. So I'm actually over in the student end, kidsA to Z.com, and I'm going to log out. But I want to go to this is what the students are going to see when they log in. So they're going to go to kidsa2z.com, and that's on those little cards. You can cut and paste it and do a pretty good job of making it right in the Google Classroom. And, I know it's down here, but I just want to show you. All right, my teacher told me that her name is Rzander1. I'm going to hit go. Now, remember, I'm Johnny, so I have to find Johnny's name. Oh, there's Johnny. He's right there at the end. And the password is Xander. And now I am in as Johnny. Now, this is what it looks like on the student end. So Johnny is going to, this is kind of Johnny's little home page. Kind of looks like a little rocket ship. His assignment is obviously going to be down here in my assignment. Reading room is going to be everything that he can read, everything that's any book that is on the level that you gave him. So in this one, he's Raz Kids reading level T. So all of the books that show up here are all going to be level T. But I want him to actually take the assignment. So you're going to go to my assignment. There's one assignment in there. And there's that book on influenza that we just assigned a minute or two ago. So when he runs this in, he can actually listen to it. And there's these little points that he can do. I honestly don't know what the points eventually do, but he can listen to it. He can then read it. And then after he does one of these two, he'll take the quiz. And that's the thing that'll appear on you on the teacher end, on the back end. So if we listen to it, I can see that here comes the book.
Influenza, written by Ned Jensen. What is the flu?
So you can see that it actually is going to read it out loud. Now, let's say instead of that, we want to actually read it. So what we can do is we can actually go through, we can read it, and we can get to the end. And now when you're done, what Johnny can also do is Johnny can then take, once he reads it, he didn't read it all the way. So he can actually take, once he does and listens to all of them and reads, he needs to get to the end of one of these two in order to take the quiz. So what I'll do is I will kind of scroll right through, right to the end. There's my glossary.
That was a little too fast.
Uh-oh. It yelled at me for reading the book too fast. So you can see that once you end up going through and doing all of that, it'll open up the quiz for you. Students will take a couple minutes to do the quiz, and then what they'll do is they'll send it back to you. It's really easy. It's really pretty intuitive on how to use all of this. So this is again what it looks like from the student's end. Here is their, they can level up. They can actually read books that are a little bit harder for them and kind of almost test out of it. So I'm gonna log out, and to log back in, I just go back to Raz Kids, and I am going to log back in one more time. And that is basically it. If you know that there's something coming up, oh, there's my new student. He just appeared. If you know that there's something coming up, maybe I have a Halloween something that's coming up. As you're going through, you're kind of brainstorming. All right, I've got some students at level E. You know what? I'm going to save this book and I'm going to hit add to. I'm going to add to my filing cabinet. I'm going to add it to my resources, and I'm going to save it right there. So basically, it's kind of a way to bookmark some files if you want to go back and you want to save them for later. So, it's good for lesson planning, for planning, things that are coming up next week. I like this book. I want to save this for my group that's all level E. And that way it'll be back into when you go back to like the Raz Kids homepage, you have these two big options right here, and that's manage students and file cabinet. Resources you can select. A lot of times they have things that are, if you notice that students are, um, you know, missing some foundational skills, obviously phonics, vocabulary, comprehension. If you have some ELL students that they have some obviously work goes through here, some word work, some vocabulary. If you know that students are really, really lacking on some of these basic foundational skills, then what happens is you can assign them just through there. So once you've got your students, then you can start assigning them, and that's basically it. It's not it's pretty intuitive. It's actually becoming more powerful than it was. So I'm becoming really impressed with it. All right, that was probably a lot long video. So let me know if you need help. You can obviously pause and watch it to your to your heart's content. All right, hope this helps.